be all for me. So Coach Dan, take it away.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Actually, probably good afternoon to many of you. It is only 9 o'clock in Hawaii time. Sorry for the delay. Had a little technical difficulties. We just moved to a new office and we're getting that thing set up. So let's rock and roll. Okay, let's can we move on to the next one? Today we're going to talk about senior relocation services, and what we want to first talk about is really how big is this opportunity? Well, it's huge, ladies and gentlemen. For those 65 years and older, we're gonna lose 2.1 million older adults this year. 80% of them own real estate, and that's going to be about 1.68 million people that are going to try to figure out what to do with their properties. Oftentimes, sell it. When the last surviving spouse passes away, it either turns into a trust sale or a probate sale, and that's been how our focus has been for the last 18 years. And pretty much daily, we get somebody calling us because their family member had passed away and now they needed to sell their property. So that's a huge market. That's what we call the most predictable market we have in real estate today, because these sellers are not selling because of an interest rate situation, selling because of a life change. Now that's just people who passed on. Now keep in mind, there's 2.2 million older adults that upon their retirement are going to move from their home. And oftentimes that also leads to a listing as well. And then keep in mind those that are making a decision to move before they pass on. Those are the proactive older adults. And those are the ones we also help create a real estate plan for their primary residence and also their investment properties. So my point is the market's massively huge, right? So why is it important to understand senior relocation services? Because at some point their home's not going to work for them, and they need to find a new one, right? And when they realize that they can't live there, they find a new home. That's when you get the listing, right? Once you've realized that you can do this, and people know that around you, a lot of folks are going to call you for advice, right? When you build a network that we're going to share with you, that could be massively delivering referrals to you on a regular basis, you'll understand that this market is an untapped market that is in a high need. You know, we're going to see the largest transition of wealth in real estate over the next 20 years, because this demographic is going to continue growing for the next 20 years. And when somebody passes on, what happens to the real estate? It transfers to the next of kin. That's right, their children. So we're really focused on the baby boomers and their parents who own real estate that are going to go through some life changes, and they're going to need some professional help to create a plan for those properties that they own and reside in, but also the properties that they don't reside in, their investment properties. Once you figure out how to do this and deliver it, sellers are going to know that you care, because you're going to show up differently. We teach you how to have a different conversation, and it's really the question that really will help somebody self-discover the best path for them. And that's really the secret sauce is, what are the questions we should be asking on every appointment that we have, every conversation or meeting that we have with somebody, so that we can help them see that we're more of a consultant versus a transactional commodity. And you're going to secure more listings when you go with that. You know, we built our business purely on listings. In fact, we don't spend any time, money, or effort outside of listings, because with the listings, we get buyers, right? And especially if you have investors, you have 1031 exchanges, at which point you got to sell and a buy with the same client. And then what you're going to do is you're going to build a shift-proof niche, because this niche, you know, this economic situation we're in today is probably not going to go away next month or next year. It's going to be with us for a bit. You know, we were with Gary. I spent the last 18 days traveling, and the last, I'd say 5 days, I was in classes with Gary Keller on the mega leadership. I was on with the top teams, his top 100 teams. Then also I was in a class, the Leadership Academy, where I stood literally 3 feet from Gary. He was looking in my eyes the whole 8 hours. It was pretty wild to get poured into by a gentleman like this that really cares for all of us. And really the focus has been on getting listings. Well, this is the only market that we know of that is going to be shift proof. And that's why our business keeps growing. And what you're going to do is you're going to build a lot of referrals from a network of trusted advisors. So here's one question you want to ask when you go into a listing appointment. Do you own any other real pieces of real estate? Do you own any other properties? So if you're not asking that question right now, you're missing out on a huge opportunity because they do have them. 30% of them have them, right? And or more will have investment properties, and they don't have a plan for that. Right? Other questions you want to ask is who's your CPA, who's your trust attorney, and who's your financial planner, right? See, when you ask questions like that, you're not going to show up as a transactional commodity because most agents don't ask those questions. It doesn't typically impact your ability to sell a property. Well, if you really want to care for that individual, you'll have to know who they seek advice from, and you want to understand their relationships. And what if you called those folks? What if you became their go-to person when an older adult comes to them and asks advice? See, because as we're going through this transition of wealth, what will happen is they're going to seek advice from those three people. For the most part, a CPA and a financial planner, and oftentimes a trust attorney. And that's how I built my business. In the beginning, I knew I needed to know these folks. So I would ask that question, and then I would lead generate to call them to find out if they were taking more business, if what kind of client they're looking for, what their ideal client looks like. I learned everything about trust documents. I learned how financial planners operate and work and how they make money. And so we created relationships with them. And when you do that, then they're going to seek advice from you to create real estate plans. And that's how you build a network. And then it's a much larger lead funnel before any other agents get there. So why are folks downsizing? Because of physical challenges, typically knees, hip, back. Memory is also another one, mental challenges. Being lonely is another one. The kids not being around. They want to sell to pay for long-term care needs. They can't stay home any longer and they have to transition. A lot of our clients, physical challenges, also cancer is another large one that shows up a lot. Family dynamics, the family moves away and they want to spend more time with the grandkids. Right? They want to sell or move in with family because now family is realizing they can't live alone. And if there is a sibling or a child that lives nearby, they oftentimes can move in with them. Oftentimes the home is just too big and too much work to maintain. And that's what we see the largest challenges. They realize that they don't need the big house. They don't want the big house. It's too much work to maintain. The trees are getting too big. It's just, they want to simplify life, right? Remove the stress. And the home becomes stressful. They're going to sell and buy or rent something smaller. Many clients don't even buy. They just rent because they know that at some point, they're not going to be around. So they don't want to have to deal with the property. Many are moving into retirement communities, and we're advocates of retirement communities. We built our business in network with retirement communities. We've done seminars at practically all of them in our market, and we serve them all. We know them all. There's 7 main communities in our market, and we know who the people are. We know we have clients in every single one of these. So that's the question for you. If you're looking at this business, Google, when you're done with this class, Google retirement communities near me, and you're going to see how many that are popped up that maybe you didn't know. And what if you did understand those options and created relationships and did seminars there? What would your world look like? Yeah, they're going to start referring you business just as you would refer them business. How do you get the listings? The best way to approach seniors. Let's see, I'm not quite sure how that works. There's a lot of ways we get listings. One is we've been doing seminars for 17 years now in our market. We do 3 or 4 a month today. We started with Senio Relocation services that have evolved into a seminar called Planning for the Future and Beyond. We do that at retirement communities where there's no cost to us. They get the venue, they bring the food in, they have free parking. We just show up and we convert those people who come into appointments. That's the way that works. We have another one called 1031 exchanges and real estate planning. where we talk to investors and we attract them, and they realize that they need help, and so they come and we do a sell and a buy at 1031 exchange. That's fueled our business very consistently. I would say 30 to 50% of our business is that. We pivoted from senior relocation to investors because we found that those are faster to move forward, and there's more of them around that are willing and able to do this. And then we have another class called I'm a trustee now one. Interestingly enough, when somebody passes away, they're going to leave their heirs with a problem, which is they're going to be a trustee and they don't know what to do. There's 21 things that they're responsible to do, but they don't know what it is because there's no class until I started doing it. And so if you follow our Facebook, I'm sure you're going to see those classes come out. We do them every month with a very strong conversion ratio. I get about 20% conversion ratio to appointments and about a 90% conversion ratio to agreements initially. And then over time, the nurtures even increase that percentage. But anyways, that's kind of how we've been getting listings, mailers as well. But most of it's our database because everybody's got a parent. Everybody is going to have some challenges at some point and they need solutions. So if you can be the solution to the problems they're going to have, they're going to call you for help, right? And it starts with their primary residence, then it goes into investment products. They're going to want to move to a lower cost of living or a warmer climate. These are all reasons why people are moving. This demographic of the baby boomer and their parents are moving because of these reasons. Biggest problem is it's a burden and it's a life change that they need to move on from. Right? They want to be closer to family as well. Okay, we got to do that. So, okay, so there's two types of retirement communities. Basic types. There's a month-to-month rental and a type called a CCRC, a continuing care retirement community. Now, the month-to-month rental is the largest growing segment of the retirement community industry. By the way, this is one of the largest industries that most realtors don't even know about. Why? Because you've got this 10,000 older adults getting 65 every single day, and they're all going to need places to live at some point, right? Their home's not going to work for them. So that's why when you Google it, you'll be quite surprised how many that you are in your market that you didn't even know about. Well, they're going to continue to grow in a very fast pace. I've talked to consultants that design these. I've talked to owners of large organizations of such. And we know that the month-to-month rental segment will grow faster than the CCRC because that segment, the baby boomer wants to have flexibility of moving from place to place. So the month-to-month rental works as you put on your initial deposit, which is they call that a community fee, not a deposit. You know, you don't get that back. And then your first month's rent. And when you move in, typically it'll be new carpet and paint typically in there. And some of them have kitchens, some of them don't. Almost all of them have 3 meals a day and such. And potential care as well. There's and then the CCRC, which is a continuing care retirement community, is different in every state. This industry is governed by the Department of Health. And so each state has its own jurisdiction around that. Now, in our market, there's only 2 types of continuing care retirement communities. In California, there's 5 models to it. One model here is you put in a large lump sum and 90% of it comes back to your heirs. And then the other model community is where you put in a large lump sum, but you don't get any of that back. So that's, if you can focus on a continuing care retirement community, that's where the wealthy go. Why? Because it's expensive getting in. In our market, entry fee is $380 to $800 in one of them or 2 of them. The highest one goes up to $1.5 million just to get the keys. In addition to that, you're looking at $8,000 to $10,000. So if your focus is the wealthy older adult, this is where they go, right? Because this isn't for everybody, right? The month-to-month rentals is the larger number of them, and so there'll be more of them out there on the month-to-month rental. There's 3 levels of care that we need to understand. One is independent living, where you don't need any help. We have people that are still working that are moving into these retirement communities. Why? Because they foresee the future of needing care for another loved one. typically the spouse, right? Independent, people are doing their own thing. When they need assistance, any of the levels of care that you need, there's 5 levels of care that you want to know. The activities of daily living: bathing, dressing, grooming, toileting, continence, mobility. 6 levels of care. If you need 2 of those 6 levels of care, your long-term care insurance will cover that cost of that care. So understanding long-term care insurance will help you understand this demographic as well. Understanding how that works, because one of the biggest challenges or questions an older adult's going to have is, if I move out of my house and sell it, will I have enough money for the rest of my life? And if the answer is no, they're not going to move out of their house, because they're going to feel as though they're going to be out on the street. And so once you can get to the level where you can mathematically calculate that, or get into a relationship where you can ask the right questions to gather that information, you can then guide them to realizing that they'll never run out of money. And it's all in a series of questions, because that's how people will trust you, because you care enough to ask the right question, as opposed to talking about how great we are and all the things we can do for them. Yeah, that's what we teach in our community is the questions you want to ask to have somebody self-discover the path that they choose. Skilled nursing facility, there's another term for that, it's called SNF. And that's really when they need care. It's going to require a nurse. Anytime you have an intrusion in your body, anytime you have like a tracheotomy or an IV or wound care, you'll need a registered nurse in many states, and that cost of care will rise as well. Right? Along all of these, you're going to have memory care, because memory care covers all different levels of care, and it's very specific. Memory care will be the largest problem or epidemic we're going to have going forward in the next 20 years, because our bodies are going to last longer and our minds can't keep up with that as we get older. And because we have this large movement of older adults and they're not building them fast enough, that will be the largest challenge society will have is the memory challenges. They're much more expensive, and there's less services allowed for that. So, the problem is really the home doesn't work and they need to move, right? So here's your simple solution. One is find them the new home, right? And knowing where they can go, what life looks like, how much it costs, who to call for help, and then process that change of life physically and emotionally. It typically starts with their stuff, right? They don't want to leave their home that they lived in 20, 30, 40, 50 years. They're concerned about their lifetime of memories, their treasures, or some people say they're all their crap that they keep. Not something appropriate to say, but but it's reality if many of you have been into these older folks' homes that have a lot of things. So an acronym we use to help them through the process called sort them through their personal belongings. Put everything in one of 4 piles: sell, offer, retain, and toss. Right? If you can keep everything simple, that's your fastest route to moving somebody forward. And then moving and setting up their new home. So number 3 and 4, the solution to that is found in a senior move management company. There's an association called the National Association of Senior Move Managers, NASM. And if you Google that, you'll put in your zip code, you'll find members who are in the community that can provide that service. Unless you do. Most of us do not. We did. We owned a company for 12 years. It was called Senior Move Managers in Declutter, Hawaii. That we did that, and that was a lead source for us. And just recently, we closed that business down. It was the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, so to speak, for what we do in our world. And then the other question they're going to have is their home. They want to fix it up. Oftentimes they're going to be embarrassed about the way it looks. They want to present it in a way that they don't feel embarrassed about their property. So they would like some help in getting it ready for sale. Having solutions to that. So having solutions to downsize, declutter, and move. Having solutions for the concierge service to help them with anything going on with their property. Kitchens, bath, paint, flooring, roof, gutters, pool, landscaping. Having solutions for all those things will help you be the complete solution for older adults that are transitioning. And then communicating and advocating for them is really huge. Knowing that you're going to have to slow your pace down in your conversations. You're going to be very articulate and clear with your words, so that if you talk too fast, cognitively, they're going to have a harder time knowing what you're saying, and they're going to get confused, right? And that's where they start to maybe not trust you if it's too confusing, right? And so that's why the series of questions are really important to ask, because then that's how you, one, learn what their needs and goals are and their problems and challenges are. The other is it builds trust, right? And that's what we want to do, is get to the point where they can trust us. And for us, we've been doing this so long, typically after the first meeting, they say, here's my key. Basically take care of everything for me. And that makes it so much easier. Collecting and collaborating with their trusted advisors. Oftentimes I'm going to call their CPA regarding their capital gains taxes, or I'm going to talk to their financial planner. If they don't have one, that's where I refer them to a financial planner. Because shockingly enough, when we sell properties, we ask that question, which most don't, because I want to know what they're going to do with their proceeds, right? How do we help them build and protect and transfer wealth the way they would desire? So here's a simple way to look at it. The sellers have a criteria. Do I like them? Many of you are likable. Do I trust them? That happens when you ask enough questions and you show care and compassion, right? And stop talking about ourselves and really ask questions about them. And the biggest thing is, do I believe they can help me? See, most people can get past 1 and 2. The other, some can't help them, right? And many people will say, well, just call me when you're ready to sell, right? And that's the average agent. We built a model around getting way in front of them, even selling and moving. First, finding out where to go, how much does it cost, what does life look like, make sure they're comfortable with that. Second is clearing out all of their things so they're comfortable with the move and the setup of their new home and the relinquishment of all the other items. 3 would be getting their home ready for sale. And then 4 is selling it. So our sellers, they don't question us on commission, they don't question us on price, because the level of trust is so high, and we leave with so much experience that they're the easiest clients to work with. So what's your goal? Well, you obviously, most of you want to secure more listings in this market with the wealthy older adult. That was always been our target. Who do the wealthy seek advice from? Those same 3 people, right? And you want to build your network and your database around that, and then become the real estate planner. What is a real estate planner? It's a licensed real estate agent who's certified and has the knowledge, training, and experience to compassionately guide a real estate owner in ways that create generational wealth, minimize taxes, and facilitate the goals of the family. And I can tell you that the #1 enemy to generational wealth is not having a plan. Second is capital gains taxes. Those are the 2 enemies of creating generational wealth. And what we do is we wrap our hands and our heart around the family to help them self-discover what that could look like. So what your goal is to really just elevate your business, to show up differently, to become that trusted consultant that is needed by these wealthy older adults, and attract leads from trusted advisors, financial planners, CPAs, and trust attorneys. These are all the guys that send us listings weekly. Right? Provide solutions to problems that the wealthy older adult will encounter, right, with their home or with their investment properties. And then creating customized strategies to manage their real estate portfolio. Right? The target is somebody who's got multiple properties. Right? So we have a group coaching class that's open to anybody inside KW and outside. It's $199. There's 4 classes. It starts with understanding the opportunity with the wealthy older adult. Next class will become the senior relocation specialist. We dive deeper into what that looks like. How do you show up that way? And then we're going to dive into the 1031 exchange, Delaware statutory trust, and legacy planning for these generations. You know, target older adult has properties. Grandma doesn't want it anymore. Their kids don't need it. Their grandkids could be blessed by it. And that's what we're we're helping 3 generations transfer wealth today through real estate, unlike any other way that can be done. And then lastly is gaining knowledge of wills, trust, and probate. Once you understand how that works and how to get in front of it, how do you attract that business? The business starts flowing towards you, right? And then you just create an engine around getting listings for the most predictable market we have. Okay. The first class starts June 19th. So if you're interested, click on their QR code, sign up before you forget.
July.
I'm sorry, July 19th, my bad, thank you. All right. And the real estate planner is not for everybody. It does have requirements on the bottom, as you can see, $75,000 of gross commission income per year, the last rolling 12 months, and 2 years of license in good standing. And it's only open to 5% of agents in Keller Williams market centers. If you're interested, click on the QR code and sign up. But basically, what you basically get out of it is conversations and questions. That's going to lead you to 2 things that are the most important things for your lead generation: is getting the appointment and getting the agreement. We focus on that. We did a role play just before this class on getting the appointment, right? And so on Mondays there's role playing, on Thursdays there's training. Once a month there's a certification training as well that goes through those classes there. This is a 12-month program for each of these because there's so much content in it. You basically get 8 hours of training for $199 a month, but also collaboration with over 400 community members all over the country that are taking this information and building their business around becoming a real estate planner and elevating their business to the whole next level, as well as social media tiles that we share. But the community now has access to all of our mailers. We have all of our marketing, all of our seminars, all of our PowerPoint decks, all of our brochures is all available through a portal 24/7. And it's one of the fastest growing communities we have in KW. So really excited to see everyone grow and learn through this process. So I think that's all. If you're interested, click on the QR code. And any questions before we head out? I'm actually just 3 minutes over time. Is this being recorded? Yes. And it will be sent out to everyone. Yes. How does the real estate planner community differ from KW relocation community? KW relocation focuses on those relocating. Great community run by one of my good friends there, Christina Griffin. And she's actually been a guest speaker in our community as well. I love what she's doing, and she helps you identify them. We also help you identify them, but we also teach you a higher level of questions to get the appointment and to get the agreements with these older adults, right? So it's a different in that sense because we dive deep on investment properties as well. But we cover similar things that she will: probate, trust, in a little different twist to it, if that helps you. But we're both in production and we both run really big businesses. So yeah, I'm a fan of her community as well. Okay. No, the designation is, Melissa, is internal. It's through KW. And so what happens is once you get certified, we're working with KW to identify everyone so we can find everyone based on their certifications. But in our community, we already have a map of everyone where they're located. So the referrals are going fast and furious around the country because you know that when you send a referral on a 1031 exchange, you'll know if they're certified and trained properly to be able to answer those questions that are most important. Any questions? Any ahas? Anybody in the community that wants to share? Yeah, Stacy said.
Hi.
Yes.
Oh, I work at a retirement home.
Awesome.
So is there any way I can implement my real estate in there? Because I know a lot of residents there still own their homes.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. So what is your role there?
I'm a server there. I serve them breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Okay, but you're a realtor as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd work with the sales department, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sales and marketing department to find out how you can provide information to the existing residents. Our model has actually not been for residents. It's been bringing new prospective residents to the community. That's what they like, right?
Yeah.
So once you understand how that works, then I'm sure they'll want you to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
I'm the one who chimed in with, I run a senior living business, and I've had some other people who are SRESs say, well, aren't you in conflict now that I'm jumped into real estate too? Might you have an opinion on that?
What do you, when you say you're in the senior real estate business, what does that do?
I run a senior living. I help people navigate independent living, memory care, CRCRs. I used to run a CCRC. I've gotten my real estate license recently, and I've had a couple senior real estate specialists kind of confront me and say, aren't you in conflict now because you're doing both ends? And I didn't think I was. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I surely do. How are you in conflict? You're providing a service that's needed. See,
That's what I told them. I think they just didn't like it because I have 20 years.
Oh yeah, no one's gonna like
in the
you
industry. And I think I did more competition to them.
Yeah, no one's gonna like you doing that. Know that when you get successful, you'll have a big target on your back. Yeah, that happens. So expect it. When we started, and I got to wrap up with this call, but when we started, I focused on learning everything I needed to know about retirement community. So I was a placement company. I still am the placement company. There's no boots on the ground in Hawaii. There's only us. So the state of Hawaii Department of Aging calls us, Elderly Affairs call us, because the public's calling them and they don't have a solution, but they know that I can. Get that. Imagine getting referrals from the state and city, right? And so, yeah, I became the placement company, and that's who you want to be. You want to be the placement company, right? The boots on the ground, because you can guide them faster than anybody else, because you know it better. You can give the best information for somebody making a decision to move on, and you're making the process easy because you're going to help them with their stuff. You're going to help them relocate. You're going to help them set up. And then you're gonna have to sell the house to pay for their long-term care needs. You're the complete solution. So no, lean into that heavily. I would promote that fiercely. Yeah. Congratulations. Okay, guys, thanks so much for your time. Look forward to seeing you in one of our classes, or sign up. We look forward to seeing you soon. Aloha.
And thank you.